Hi friends, welcome to Tony Renee at Home. Today we are actually going to start what I promised you a couple of weeks ago, and that is teaching you to prepare food in different ways to stock your pantry. We'll be dehydrating, we'll be canning, and we will be freeze drying. Now I realize not everyone has a freeze dryer, but for those who do and are new to it, like me, then we will learn together. Or maybe I'll have a tip or say it some way that will make it easier for someone else to understand. But why would I want food prepared in different ways? If you have it in the freezer or if you've canned it, shouldn't that be good enough? Well, not necessarily, because things happen. You could have a seal pop. Not that that's going to happen to everyone, hopefully, but they could fall off your shelf. What if your shelves break? What if you have a tornado or an earthquake? What if your power goes out and you lose everything in your freezer? It's just a really smart idea to have food prepared in different ways, stocked in your pantry. And I am very lax on anything other than canning, and even some of that is kind of dwindling down because we've been working through it. So today we are going to be freeze drying. I have mixed vegetables, I have corn, I have peas and corn together, and then I have just some plain peas. Now I know that for my Excalibur 9 tray, 2 of these does 2 or 3, I think it's 3, 2 of this size, which is 2 pounds. And I'm just using the great value from Walmart, whatever was cheaper. 2 of these I think does 3 trays. So I'm going to move the camera down and we're gonna look at my trays here so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just gonna start with what's closest to me, and that is the mixed vegetables. And we'll get into how to use these in a later video. Right now I just want to show you how to dehydrate them. I'm going to do a little more than half of this package and spread it out on here. Oops, we're not even centered on that tray. Okay, that's a little bit more. I'm not too concerned with, I don't want it piled on top of each other super high, but it's okay if it's touching. In this case, these are frozen. I'm going to dehydrate them from frozen. And this should take about 8 to 10 hours. Some things dehydrate quicker than others. Okay, I'm going to run this over to the dehydrator because I don't have any place to set this. And as this dehydrates, it's going to shrink. So I'm not really worried that it's stacked on top of each other. There's no exact measurement for how much to use on each tray. Just spread it out. I'm going to move a couple of things here so I can just set this off to the side. Just in case I have a little bit too much for this tray. Nope, I think we're going to be perfect. Okay, we are going to continue this with the corn and the peas and carrots, and then just the peas. And then we'll go over to the dehydrator and talk about what we do as far as setting that up. So yeah, 2 bags of the 2 pound size. does 3 trays in my Excalibur. It will depend on what size dehydrator you have, of course, as to how much each one can hold. But if you have an Excalibur, these 2-pound bags, if you buy 2 bags, two 2-pound bags, fits on 3 trays in an Excalibur. And my dog is scratching like crazy at the door. I'll be right back. Sadie is scared to death of the chickens. And the rooster had jumped up on the porch. So she was wanting in. I had a pea that I had dropped on the counter. Just going to throw it on there with the corn. I can also tell you that when you have dehydrating, okay, I told you that 2 2-pound bags fit on 3 trays in the Excalibur. I can tell you that once dehydrated, that fits in a quart and 1 pint. Goodness! You got something stuck up your snoot? Now, if you have clumps of... There, my dishwasher just played you a little tune. If you have little clumps of vegetables that are stuck together, be sure and break those up. Okay. Whoops. Runaway corn. I just want to be sure that this is laid out flat enough that when I put my trays in, that they'll fit, because there's not a whole lot of room in between trays in an Excalibur, and I want to have all 9 trays in there. If I'm going to run it, I want to run it full. All right, taking this over, and I'll be right back. All right, I have never used these little 12-ounce bags before. I've only used the 2 pounds. So I don't know how many I'm going to need to fill these up. I may only do 2 bags per tray. And then I don't know what I'll do on the last tray. I'll have to choose either peas or peas and carrots. Okay, so on an Excalibur, 2 12-ounce bags fit just fine on a tray. Okay, there's the peas and carrots. Don't want to leave anything in there. Food's too precious and expensive these days to be wasting any of it. You know, it's not just about What if something happens with your canned goods or your freezer or whatever? This is really just about stocking up food for your family. Prices are so expensive right now. And from what we keep hearing, something else happens and prices go up, and then something else happens and prices go up. We don't know where it's going to end. So it's good to have food prepared no matter which way you do it, which way is your favorite way to do it. It's just a good idea right now to be putting food by. All right, I believe I'm going to use my third tray for more peas and carrots. And so I'm going to have to run to the freezer because I only have one bag left here. And it takes two. I'm going to get these peas in the dehydrator, grab another bag of peas and carrots, and I'll meet you over at the dehydrator. Okay, this is what I mean. If you have, not that you weren't smart enough to know what I meant when I said if you have clumps of vegetables, break them up, but that's what I mean. Like the little peas and carrots get stuck together. If you have a couple of carrots that are stuck together, that's fine. But if you have a big clump like that one was, want to be sure and break that up. And like I said, we'll get into recipes to use all this stuff for from the different ways that we use it. But I can tell you right now, the majority of the time, these will probably be used in stir-fried rice. But there's other things we can do too. Okay, last tray, going in the dehydrator. I'll see you there. Okay. We have a full dehydrator, peas and carrots, just peas, corn, and then our mixed vegetables all ready to go. I'm using my phone right now, so it's a little difficult one-handed. Get this lid seated on here right, and there we go. Let me pull this out and bring you back here. We will be setting this for vegetables, 125, and that is right there. And now we will just wait 8 to 10 hours. I'll start checking on it, and I will bring you back, maybe periodically in between, but probably not because I don't like to take the door off until it's about time for it to be done. So I will bring you back when this is done and we'll take a look at it. The corn and the peas are completely done, but the peas and carrots and the mixed vegetables aren't quite finished. They're almost done. So I have spread the trays out and I'm going to turn it back on, but I'm going to turn it back on lower because I have to run to town real quick, and when I come back I will check it again and see if it isn't done yet. Then I will turn it back on to 125. And then after that, I will just come back to you when this is completely done. Okay, so while I ran to town, actually I drove, I had turned this down to 95 degrees while I was gone. And when I came back, everything is done. So I am going to let these sit in here and cool. And like I said before, the corn and the peas are already done. And what we do to the corn and peas is exactly what you would do to these things. So I'm going to set the camera up and take you over to the island and show you what to do next. Okay, I'm going to work on the corn first because that's closest to me. And all we are going to do I'm going to scoot this to the middle as much as I can because I'm going to attempt to pick up this thing without making a mess. And I have a 1/2 gallon jar here and my canning funnel. And I'm going to use that to put my corn in the jar. Okay. What a mess. I'm going to scooch this over. All right. I want every last kernel. Too expensive to waste. Easy cleanup. There's nothing left on there. And I'll just be putting something else in there that's not going to matter whether or not I wash that or not. Probably just going to turn around and do some more veggies. Okay. And I'm going to do the same thing with the peas after I'm done with this. But because I only have that one little tray of peas, I just have a quart jar for that. Okay. There's our corn. Do our peas. Again, scooting them towards the center so I don't make a ginormous mess when I try to turn this up and get these off of here. Alrighty. Little bitty teeny tiny black pea was stuck on there. Okay, now get that pushed over to one side. The next thing we're going to do, I just have the white lids. You can get them at Walmart. I got mine in bulk from Amazon. And this is all you do for now. These are going to go in the pantry and they're going to sit for a week. This is called conditioning. And you want to check every day or so. Just give them a move around and make sure that nothing is sticking to the top and you don't have big globs of veggies that are stuck together in the middle. If after a week you can still turn them over and they're still not sticking to the top and they're not clumping together, your conditioning is done, and so are your veggies. And that is it. That is how easy dehydrating veggies is. Okay, the freeze dryer is going right now, so just forgive that noise. But I realized as I was putting the peas and carrots in the jar, I told you about conditioning and how you want to be sure that nothing is stuck together and it's not sticking to the top when you turn the jar over. However, I didn't tell you what to do if that did happen. That only means that yours are not all the way dry and you just need to stick them back in the back in the dehydrator. And it's fine. they're in a jar. They're fine for about a week. Don't leave them too much longer than that, though. Just stick them back in the freeze dryer and dry them a little bit more and just test them. Put them back in the jar and just do the same thing for another week. And you'll get to the point where they're no longer sticking together or sticking to the top if that happens to you. Okay? I thought you probably should be updated on that. From frozen to dehydrated to your pantry. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give me a thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe so you won't miss any of the other videos that I'm doing. I did some canning today of corn and mixed vegetables. Same thing, store-bought frozen, and that's what I'm doing with these videos. We're going to do it in the dehydrator, we're going to do it in the canner, and we're going to do it in the freeze dryer. If you have not watched my canning basics video, I'm going to link it here at the end and give that a watch because I have some canning videos coming out. And if you don't know anything about canning but you've always wanted to learn, in that video I go through water bath canners and pressure canners and tell you the difference and how to use each one, and then we go into more detail as we can our food. So be sure and subscribe, and until the next video, God bless.